welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Natalie Saunderson, and it's been a few weeks since I've released a video. I have been very busy, and this video I want to share what I can really sense and feel coming in March 2023. And some of you, if you've watched my channel for a little while, you know that I've been doing / a yoga teacher practitioner for quite a long time. And I feel that most of us can agree that one of the side effects or the kind of the outcomes of having something like a yoga practice is that you increase whatever the effects of yoga are over the years. And one of those things would be sensitivity. And I wanted to come on and share a little bit about what I'm feeling and sensing in the next few weeks to come, because I feel it's really important that if you find yourself in a situation that is challenging in some way to navigate, is extremely maybe unexpected, it's possibly going to look very different than what you would like it to look like. And that's not to say that any of what I've just shared is a negative thing. All it means is that sometimes the intense parts of our life need to play out in order for it to either clear, remove, or requires us to change. And without those events or periods of time, we probably wouldn't make those changes. And so what I'm seeing in my circle around me, and also what I've been feeling for several weeks now, is the energy of the year and how it's kind of ebb and flow. And most of us can sense this, actually, and it's not that some people have this ability and some people don't. I use the words intuition and empath a lot in how I would describe how I navigate the world. But you might have your own words, and that is perfect, because whatever resonates for you in terms of how you navigate things, what you pick up on, how you have answers or a knowing come to you, is completely yours to define. And I think that we all have varying degrees of ability to feel things at different levels than what we cognitively can understand. And I wanted to share today a few things that I've realized as when I go into a period in my life where I know that it's going to be possibly a little intense. The things that keep me not only as grounded and present as possible, but they're kind of like my staple self-care toolkit at this point. Because many of us have been, in many ways, doing our best to not accumulate the changes and the effects of the stress and the shifting that's been happening for several years now. But without an awareness that it's been happening, or that you've been responding to it or taking it on or feeling stressed about it, then it's very difficult to know how to maneuver it, or how to clear it, how to release it, and not let it linger in your system. So the three things that I feel I get the nudge to do lately is to hydrate a lot more. And hydrate a lot more doesn't need to be, the most delicious green, super expensive green smoothie you can find. It means that you're aware of the liquid intake that you're taking into your body. And specifically, because we know that our body is made up of so much liquid, we want to be flushing and moving things through our system. Not only does it help us digest our food and release the toxins from that food, it also just allows on a cellular level, us, like a shower, us to get this very kind of cleansing rinse. So say you do have a period where your body experiences a large amount of adrenaline or stress or challenge or change, you're supporting yourself in helping move that through. You might find that you're also more naturally thirsty at this time, which is actually very normal. The next thing that I always look at in terms of how I'm supporting myself, and it is sometimes a little bit of a slippery slope, because we can all have demands on our lives that require us to show up, and that is rest. And for many people, especially if I'm talking to you and you're a parent, this is not always something that you have your full ability to control, right? Sometimes you're needed earlier than you'd like. Sometimes you don't get to sleep because you have to finish things up. Sometimes there's things that you need to digest that you might be trying to mentally work through that just don't let you that proper amount of rest. And so if that's not option, if the first option for you isn't to be able to take more physical rest, then I'm going to suggest that you take more mental and emotional rest, which means that try to recognize if you're starting to feel a little bit topped up, as in full, that you don't take on more. Whatever it is, don't take on more. Don't take on more outings, don't take on more obligations, don't take on more work, even if you think the money sounds enticing. Don't take on more. Your body will thank you because it really does need time to process whatever you're experiencing, whatever you're feeling, right? And sometimes we don't really think of our feelings as something that we need to give ourselves energy for, but we absolutely do, because those feelings are creating a tidal wave of physical response in our systems. The last piece of this that I feel is really supportive, if you feel yourself, there's big change happening already, if you can sense change coming, is to navigate it from an internal space. So I think that it's fairly accurate to say that we've all seen a lot of outer changes that we feel like there's really no clean way to respond to, right? It's kind of like, what is this? But regardless of what's happening outside of you, even if it has to do with the people closest to you, it always comes back to your internal environment. And so to take stock of that, right? And this becomes your habit, this becomes your commitment when you are a yogi or you're into yoga, is that when you sit down to practice, and it becomes very easy, when you sit down to meditate, you recognize, okay, this is how I'm feeling today. Or, okay, there's a lot going on. If you don't have those practices, then sometimes the accumulation of how you're doing will overflow into other areas of your life. And sometimes it happens, and it's necessary for you to then address it. But ideally, we want to think about the integrity that you have with yourself, meaning integrity is one of my personal words that I've had for a long time. And integrity doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you don't make mistakes, and it doesn't mean that you are always choosing the high road. Integrity means that you are aware. You're aware of your actions, you're aware of what's happening, and you are lining yourself up continuously with what feels right, what you sense is right, and that is really all that integrity relates to. You cannot predict or preempt what's best for somebody else. Integrity doesn't look like yielding your personal agenda for everyone else's. Integrity is knowing that you're actually supporting yourself and hopefully the beneficial outcome for others in that process. And integrity is a very strong driving force, because when you decide that you have values around how you show up, what kind of conduct you're going to allow or not allow in your life, everything else around it reorganizes. And sometimes that might mean that you speak or act and it causes a response, and that's okay. It's not your arena to govern that response. But integrity in general is also going to help you decide and dictate what kind of action you take, how you take care of yourself, what feels out of alignment when you're saying yes, when you really need to say no. And so in this way, integrity becomes also this very kind of essential piece in order to take care of yourself properly, which is always the goal, because there really isn't very many things that can happen in life if you're unable to take care of yourself on all levels, starting with the physical, because if the physical goes down, it's very difficult to have any other kind of big changes or impacts on your life when you're physically not well. So I hope that you move into March with eyes open, with a lot of intention to do the very best you can to move through whatever comes up for you to process, to take care of yourself in the best way you know how to, and to also, with awareness, give people as much space and credit and kindness as you can. I promise it will come back to you. Thank you so much for being on this channel. I promise there are some more yoga asana videos coming your way. And if you haven't already subscribed, you can hit the button below. Take care.